Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is September 10th, 2022, and I'm your co-host, the Fat Wizard, joined today by...
Alamaxia.
And Lobos.
And today we're taking a look at Perfect Dark on the N64, released in North America May 22nd, 2000. And a quick heads up, I am running with a new camera setup, so boys, how do I look?
Splendid. Great.
I don't know I forgot which side you're on of me, but
it kind of varies, but
wonderful.
Yeah, very good.
You look
very
great.
good. Very good. So just as a heads up, there may be some technical difficulties on the recording here. If you're watching us and my camera just cuts out, well, it was because something went wrong. So bear with us as we try to acclimate to this new technology we've got going on here. But let's talk about, technology. Let's talk about technology because there's a whole lot of that in Perfect Dark. So this was my first time playing through Alamaxia.
Cool.
I think this was your first time as well. Is that right?
That it was.
Okay,
this
and
was
Lobos.
my 70th time.
70th. Well,
Okay,
you
the
wouldn't have
single player
known
maybe
watching
not,
your
but-
stream.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. The campaign's another story, but yeah.
Okay. Actually, now that you mention that, because it sounds like you played a lot of multiplayer then back in the day, right?
Multiplayer mode, but solo. We'll talk about
The
it.
funny thing is, in the manual itself, so this game has needs the expansion pack to not operate the entire game, but most of the game. In fact, the manual, if you look at it, it's like you can play roughly 35 or 37% of the game, and it basically breaks down what you can play. It's like if you don't have the expansion pack, you can just play like solo deathmatch or something like that, right?
Yeah, you can do the multiplayer mode with like 4 sims, I think.
4, okay.
And that's it. With the expansion pack, it's 8.
Okay. It's pretty sad. It's a good read to look at just how sad. Just imagine the kids open this up for Christmas and
was
they're
me.
like, "Oh,
This
yeah,
was me.
okay."
I put it in and I was like, cool. Oh, and then I was
anything.
like, I need the expansion pack. So then, then later I got Majora's Mask, and I think that came bundled with it, and
Okay,
so then I was able to do it. But
And then also we're talking about little expansion packs. I had the Rumble pack in, and I have it on good authority that you two are Rumble-less. What's up with that?
Because I was cartridge-less.
Oh,
I had
that's
to emulate.
sad. Okay, but Lobos, what's your excuse?
I don't have a Rumble pack. I feel like I didn't have a lot of games that used the Rumble pack when I was growing up, except for Star Fox.
I mean, this is the second game we have played that
It's
used the
true.
Rumble pack,
It's
so
true.
you might want to invest, or better yet, we got to have the community bring together their love. Let's get this man the Rumble pack that he never had. I don't know how that happens, but I'm sure someone out there will figure out how we get Lobos a Rumble pack.
I'll craft one from scratch. Tell you what.
Well, you know what they say, to
MacGyver
craft a
one.
Rumble pack from scratch, you must first reinvent the universe.
All right, I'll get on it after this episode.
After this episode, man. All right, enough beating around the bush. What's going on in this game? I think we're halfway through the first mission already. Alamaxia, as the resident lore expert, and gosh, we're gonna need you. I sure hope you know what's happening.
I hope
here.
I can keep up with this lore.
Yeah. Walk us through. Like, what are we doing here?
So we are getting into this corporation called Datadyne, and we are trying to rescue the scientist, Dr. Carroll. And right now, we don't really know who Dr. Carroll is. All we know is we just gotta get them out.
Or what he looks like, right? I think they say like, hey, we don't know anything about him, so
Yeah.
Yep.
No, nothing.
Oh.
So this is the classic, I don't know who I am or why I'm here, but all I know is I must kill.
Well, we do know who the main character is. Main character name is Joanna Dark. She's a new character for the Perfect Dark series, and she gets the alias Dark because apparently she's really, really great at the spy, secret agent stuff. And so her code name is Dark, something like that.
They even call her Perfect Dark in the
Perfect
in the
Dark,
campaign.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when you start up the game, if you don't have any save file, you have to enter in a save file name, and of course, it starts with the name Dark. I entered in SMG. I always love to hear like what you guys enter, especially Lobos with chat, because I'm sure it's something silly, like Frankerzy.
It's pretty boring. Most of the time, it's Lobos.
Okay.
This time it was LobosJr. because I already had a Lobos. So.
Okay. Oh, so you had the save file from like previous.
I did.
Nice.
I don't
cool.
think it was from when I was a kid. I think it was from a replay at some point. But this is the original cart that I owned. So yeah.
Oh, very cool. And Alamaxia, Alamaxia is such a long name to type in with a controller, right?
It's all right. I type in Alamaxia.
Okay. All right. Cool. So we got our 3 agents coming in here. We first completed the first mission, which is more or less infiltrating the building. We are now in the heart of Datadyne, which, as I understand, it's a rival corporation to the is it the Carrington
Institute?
Institute? Is that right? They're rivals in terms of technology or whatever. Well, I know Datadyne's rival something.
It's Carrington is in league with someone yet to be revealed, and I believe they're trying to get Datadyne's technology to sell off.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're in Datadyne and making a mess of this place. I heard you can go through this game with stealth, but I had no idea how to do that. So I just kind of shot everything. I think there was one mission I figured out.
Yeah, there's like one that you really want to try and stealth on. The only thing that I can think of that is stealth in this game is if you punch them in the back, it's a one-shot like knockout.
Oh, okay.
So that's it. But most of the time, like they'll be playing a cutscene and they're like, "You should go in and try to be stealthy," and you're like, "Okay." You take 2 steps and then 3 guys jump out and they're like, "Ah!" And they hit an alarm and you're like, "What's that? How do I stealth here?" So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was very much a. There's enemies in front of me. Just shoot.
Yeah.
Just shoot.
Which, of course, if you're using the N64 controller and the single analog, it's very much GoldenEye controls. Mm-hmm. So the auto aim is very generous. And, you even look at... So let's talk a little bit about the history of the game. This was basically... Rare had made GoldenEye, which we covered on a previous podcast and episode, and they were going to make the sequel, which was I think Tomorrow Never Dies, I believe. Yeah, Tomorrow Never Dies. That's right. Yeah.
And
that's right.
The World Is Not Enough.
Yeah, The World's Not Enough. Yeah, I actually just watched that. Anyway, I guess EA won the bid for that game and made a crappy game, and so they said, Rare said, that's fine. We'll kind of make our own little thing, and they made this with more or less the GoldenEye engine, and you can tell 100%. Like, it plays like GoldenEye. You can see the enemy AI just do like, the classic roll on the ground.
Yep.
Which, by the way,
that we're looking at
the
right
turrets,
here pulled out of GoldenEye.
Yeah. The guns were even just straight up reskinned in some cases. Like the SMG that you play through the game with, like the SCP-150 or whatever it is. Like that's just straight up the SMG. Yeah. Even the sound bites and everything, but it brought a little bit of that nostalgia of GoldenEye in, but I feel like the combat in this game and the gadgets, they pulled it off way better. The levels are designed and just skinned and lights way better.
The lights are off the hook, man. There's
they're
everywhere.
Yeah.
It's cool though. I love my favorite thing. I mean, the huge thing about this game is all the secondary fires for all the guns. It's like you practically double the weapons, and some of the secondaries are super cool. Like, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but like I was talking about how you can go stealth and hit people in the back. The basic pistol, the secondary turns into pistol whip, and you can just hit people with it. It's pretty good damage. But yeah, they go crazy with some of the secondaries.
Yeah, I want to know who used the laptop gun as a turret, because I couldn't find the usefulness of that. But
the laptop gun is OP. It can like just completely solo some areas.
I did like the laptop gun, but it seemed like there wasn't enough places in the game where you just fight in one area for so long that you'd want to just throw your gun on the ground.
Yeah. In the campaign, it's a little harder. Like, it's got to be a room where, like, you're going to get waves of enemies coming in, but yeah.
Maybe on a higher difficulty. Does the higher difficulty have more enemies that'll come out at you?
I'm not sure. Oh, by the way, let's talk about difficulties because I'm playing this on Special Agent, which is the call it middle difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you guys play it on?
Played it on Agent, basic difficulty, nice and easy.
Yeah. I did Special Agent, and then as I was running out of time, I went down to Agent for the last several missions, just because it was more that I was unfamiliar with the objectives, and it was
takes forever.
Yeah, I was running around so much, but then I found myself running into all these rooms on Agent, and I was like, oh, this is for Special Agent very likely. So
see a big terminal, it's like, oh, the terminal's not active. It's like, oh, I guess I would have. So here, I want to talk about this scene. So we're actually coming out of Datadyne. We found Dr. Carroll, and this area was very, very difficult because you get out of the building and you're trying to get back up to the helipad, and you get assaulted by 4 or 5 security guards. And I had a heck of a time. This is a level where you have to blow up a helicopter coming out. They conveniently give you a rocket launcher, but I didn't use that rocket launcher on the helicopter. I used the rocket launcher on this little battle because it was very, very difficult. Did anyone have difficulties on this?
I definitely remembered this from my childhood, having a lot of...
Because it's at the very end of the level, and so you're kind of already strapped for resources, and what you do is you come out and they shut off the lights real quick and start shooting at you. So you have to quickly flip over to night vision. You got to try to take cover. And then you got to blast the bodyguards.
Now I have shotguns that are super high damage.
Yeah. It took me a couple times.
I'll tell you a little trick that makes this a lot easier.
To me.
Is the CMP 150. The secondary is a lock-on target.
Okay.
But what you can do is you can aim at multiple enemies, and they are all targeted. So then, as soon as you start firing, you'll just unload onto the first one. Once that dies, it auto seeks the next one. And you can do that with
awesome.
3 or 4 targets and just eliminate those bodyguards really fast.
Nice.
That's how I did it. Just lock on because it locked on through that darkness, and you could just blah, blah, blah.
That's cool. Yeah, I almost think that the way to play this game is to start with Agent because, like you said, so often I was just trying to learn the map and the objectives. Yeah. And you'd be like, all right, cool. What am I supposed to do here? And then you're running around with the added pressure of enemies coming and killing you. And as I found later on in the game, it would take me maybe an hour to play through a level just to learn, but then actually beating the level is like 5-10 minutes most.
Yeah.
You just really blast through it.
Yeah. In most cases, I would play a level for 20 minutes and die right at the end, and then I'd be like, okay, then the next attempt was 4 minutes, and it's okay, done.
Well, now we're on this. This is one of my favorite levels, just because the artistic direction is really great. You start out on the top of the rooftops here, and you get a sniper rifle, and there's a negotiator which is being held up by a couple people, and this is sort of like would you call this an Italian villa or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so it's got these really cool whites and blues, and then it's set next to the ocean there. And the negotiators on this pier. There's this large windmill that you'll see. This is a point that will kind of interact with maybe indirectly later on in the level. But this is really the only level that has this sort of bright aesthetic. Everything else is a little, you think cyberpunky, kind of more grays and neon lights-ish. But this one really stands out as a level that completely looks different than all the other levels.
And it really just set into motion the maze-like, the maze-likeness that the levels become.
Yeah.
So I know I wandered around this level for quite a bit before I was finding, my next objective or way to go. And I feel like it got just increasingly harder from here.
It's always this one door that was just around a corner from another door that you just happen to run by, and it's that leads to this huge open area, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, many times I missed levels here. We're in the basement now, and what we have to do is we need to turn on some power generators to power the wind generator, I guess, or the windmill.
Yeah.
Windmill, and I don't remember why. Does anyone remember?
There's a door that's locked down here.
Oh yeah,
and it's powered, and they turned the power off so nobody could get into the inner, sanctum or whatever. And then you turn it back on, and you can access it.
Now, while we're doing that, it's probably worth mentioning we did find Dr. Carroll. And does anyone want to give this startling revelation of who or what Dr. Carroll is?
A laptop gun.
What? Wait, is it actually a gun? I thought it was just a pair of eyes.
Yeah, it's just a pair of eyes.
Okay.
A
But
floating
those
pair
eyes
of
got
eyes.
emotion. They have some emotion, right?
That weird robot death. Yeah, emotion.
So we got a nice zoom in. We've freed the person we're trying to free here, and let's talk about the textures on the faces here. 'Cause I think
Classic golden eye. Take a photo and stretch it out onto a geometry. Although
here's something that's funny. Here's something that's funny is the original idea was that you were going to be able to take a photo on the Game Boy. Was it the Game Boy Color? I don't know. One of those that had a camera,
right? Yeah. Game Boy camera.
Yeah. I think it was the Game Boy Color, but must have had some sort of attachment because it wasn't the OG Game Boy.
Well, the
Anyway.
Game Boy camera was an attachment. Did you
Yeah,
ever
but
have
I think
it?
it was. I didn't. But they also had the Game Boy printer.
Yeah, it was a
and-
printer, yeah, and you
I
could print it
know.
out. It was so dumb. But
I had
Anyway,
a friend that
listen,
had those.
great.
Yeah, anyway.
There was some way they were supposed to be able to take a picture of your face and then import it into the game and put it on the faces of the characters there. But they ended up chopping that off because they were a little worried about the implications of you maybe taking pictures of your sister.
Yeah,
And, you know,
I could
shooting
see
her or
that.
something. I don't know.
I could see that.
Oh my gosh.
From the time that this game came from, that definitely could have made things worse for gaming in general.
I will say
that would
this is
be
totally
great, though.
not totally off topic, but I had an NHL game around this time, and they let you do that, and so I did do
Nice.
that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually Rainbow Six Vegas 2 on the 360 allowed you to do that. If you had
Whoa.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So, Lobos,
Anyways.
as a resident stealth expert,
Yes.
we saw your talents in
course.
Sly. What is going on in this level? Because this is kind of a spy
Chicago.
estimate.
When I
Chicago.
first started playing, I was like, man, the one level I remember is Chicago, which in reality, it's a pretty small level, but you're outside and it's raining and you're amongst these tall buildings and you're going through alleyways and stuff. And there are certain enemies they're kind of dressed up almost like detectives, kind of. They've got like, big trench coats, and some of them will be friendly and some of them will not be. You can tell by aiming at them, and if the reticle's blue, they're friendly. If not, they're not. And they'll call for help if they catch you, if they're the bad ones. But anyways, there's like this big floating drone that patrols the street part of this area, which again, it's not very large, but it seems huge, at least in my mind as a kid. And you can sneak through these alleyways, and you ideally do not want to get caught, so you can punch people in the back or use your silencer on your Falcon pistol. And it's a pretty cool thing where you set up for the next mission an escape route.
Yeah.
You throw a remote mine, but you don't detonate it yet. And at the end of the next mission, you actually have to detonate it, and then you leave. And so it's really cool how they have this continuity between those.
Because it's based on the
missions.
floor. You can change which floor you put it on, and then you have to
That
find
too.
that same floor on the inside and then blow it up. So I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
On Agent, you don't have to do that. It's just run to this place that's exploded open.
Okay.
Oh, that was actually one of my favorite bits about it is the idea of
Oh,
like,
that's really cool. Aw.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
are
I think-
several. I was gonna say there are several parts in the game where if you get a choice to do things, and it'll change how it works in the future, which GoldenEye didn't do. But yeah, we'll talk about it when we get there. But there's some cool things you can do.
Oh, that was
And Alamaxia, you said that this game is the best did you say best James Bond game, or what did you say? It was like the best something you've played.
This is like the best James Bond game I've played. I mean, like we pointed out earlier, they were going to make another James Bond game, and I feel like they just took everything they did and was like, all right, we're just going to throw a different skin on it and go.
Kind of
And
different, not even that different.
It just felt exactly like a James Bond game should be, infiltrating.
Yeah.
In some levels, disguising yourself and working your way in, or just, the traditional blast your way through everything.
That's definitely
But the
something that
gadgets,
struck out at me
everything.
when I was playing here, was that it definitely felt like you were a spy. GoldenEye, a little bit, right? But here it's like, well, Chicago is a really great level. The whole reason what you're doing, or the reason that level exists, is you're trying to break in. And in order to break in, you need to create a diversion by blowing up, like putting a virus on a car, creating a diversion so the guards will leave this area, because if they lock down that area, it will not open up again. So that I was like, wow, and there's a lot of stuff about that. But that comes on the flip side of sometimes it's really hard to figure out, like, what am I supposed to do? What is the order of interactions here?
Yeah.
I found that the mission briefing in the pause menu, that was helpful. Like,
it was
oddly
very
helpful.
Yeah. I did not expect it to be, and then somebody was like, read the objectives, check the objectives.
Read the manual.
Well, I mean, in a sense that, like, yes, this, like in GoldenEye, maybe this would not have helped you at all, but they actually give you some good details. They'll tell you, like, on a certain floor or at a certain place, and you're like, oh, okay, and then that kind of helps guide you.
You use this thing to find the hole in the wall. I wish I would have seen that 20 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. Joanna will also give you context-sensitive clues when you enter an area that it's like, there's a big pyro spike coming from this area, and you're like, oh, obviously that's the generator I need to blow up, or stuff like that. So I think, again, in GoldenEye, it was a little more obtuse, but here they do give you a lot of clues to kind of figure out. All right, cool. We are now in some sort of medical building here, but something very important is happening.
This is the Area
Lore
51.
expert, go. Is it? Oh, it is Area 51?
Yeah, this is the first Area 51 level.
Oh, yeah. I got some things to talk about on this one, but I want to hear about lore expert Alamaxia. Give us the context of why there's an alien.
Because Area 51.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, lore expert. That is where all of our money goes to, right there, is the in-depth coverage. All right, so let me talk about how you infiltrate Area 51. You can infiltrate in the front way, but they basically tell you not to. And there's very clearly a little passage here, a chain link fence, which we're looking at right now. And for the longest time, I could not figure out, like, how do you get in here? Because it just looks like it's a little desert-looking area, and every single time I'd walk on there, I'd blow up. I'm like, what is going on here? Because they don't mention anything about, like, as far as I know, please tell me what I missed here, but as far as I can tell, there's no indication that thing's booby-trapped in any way.
No, it's just landmines.
Just landmines. So you just throw a grenade on there and you blow it up, and that made my life a lot easier.
Yeah, you can get to that from another side of the building.
Yes. Yeah, but you have to go in the front way, right?
That's dicey.
Yeah, it looked very, very dicey. And that's how I was doing it until I figured out how to get in the right way.
So you passed up that hover bike back there, and I want to point out that those hover bikes are the most wonderful little things out there, because you can take that and basically go through the whole level on it. It fits through all the little corridors and
I didn't
and
know
down
you can ride
through
that thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
They also don't tell you. You have to double tap B next to it.
B.
It's so.
Wait, Alamaxia, how did you figure that out? Did you look it up or?
No, I was like, I've got to be able to do something with this, because I destroyed the two others. I was like, there's got to be something. So I started mashing buttons, and all of a sudden I was on it, and it took me 5 minutes to figure out how to get back off. Double tap B.
Yep. It's so weird because you press B next to it, and you can, like, drag it. And that's a cool new feature in this, where you can move, like, crates, quest crates, and these vehicles around and stuff if they're hovering. But yeah, you double tap, and then he gets on, or she gets on, and it's very fast. It's very good for avoiding fire, and you can
shoots.
No, but you can shoot your gun while you're on it.
Oh,
so
okay.
you can just burst through those main gates where there's normally a bunch of turrets, but you can get out of their line of sight real quick, and then do that.
With that little hover bike thing there, I can definitely see that being very much one of the inspirations for the Ghost in Halo, because I've been seeing a lot of different things in this game that I'm like, that looks like something that appeared in Halo, or that looks very similar to how Halo has it, and that hover bike looks and operates exactly like a Ghost does.
Yeah, it does.
That makes sense. Well, speaking of moving things around, we got to move a big crate of explosives around.
There we go.
This level was a horror for me to play, especially because I think they want you to go through it stealthily. But again, like, for whatever reason, every time I stepped like 5 feet in, they're like, Yeah, like you said, three
This
guys.
is the one-
Oh, there she is. Get her.
This is one that was in my mind where it's like, you should go in stealthy, but there's a dude right away, and he's like, I see you, and then they all just start coming. Yeah,
They even
one
give you
interesting-
infrared goggles.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, so you can see through wall, or maybe they're X-ray goggles, so you can see people through walls.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the X-ray scan. I hadn't used that too much on this one. But, what was I going to say? No, continue.
Well, there's the whole thing is there is this level where you have to escort, and when I say escort, you're really just picking up this crate and kind of pushing it around, and it's full of high explosives, so if you shoot it, it'll blow up. I don't know. I'm assuming if enemies shoot it, it'll blow up too and fail the mission. Yep. But you have to bring it to the very end of this place, and there's a little subtle X mark. Did anyone have problems seeing that? Because they do tell you, oh, I've marked it, but they don't tell you how they marked it. Mm-hmm. So anyone have problems figuring out where that was?
I didn't see the X. I saw like the red lights under it, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's how he marked it. And I just dropped it and fired it off.
That's funny. I had remembered once I saw that X, it jumped from my memory as a kid. So I was like, oh, yeah, there you go.
Now, did you push the crate all the way through all the different firefights, or did you leave it behind, kill everything, and come back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I remember that too.
I could not imagine trying to push that through with everything.
Yeah.
Again, I always mention, especially some of these games that have these things that can really be difficult. We talked about this in Earthworm Jim about like the submarine section and then this level, but this would be in my mind a speedrunning nightmare where you have to try to move this crate while shooting everyone. It just seems like this is a good place for that run to die.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Especially on a harder difficulty or something where it's only like a couple hits and then it blows up. Oof.
But we did make it into Area 51, right? That's where we're in now.
Yep. Yep. We were in there, and now we're in like the autopsy lab area where we're trying to get. I think on Special Agent, you have to use an X-ray scanner to see in these cryo containers, and you can spot an alien in one of them, and then that gets you credit for like I think proof that they've got aliens there. And
the aliens, they are the typical grays. You know, you think about the little short gray Martian big head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they are called the Mayans, is that right?
Yeah, they call them Mayans.
Maian is Mayan is the race. And then it's worth mentioning there's another reptilian alien race. So the Mayans are sort of the good people here, and the Skedar, is that right?
Skedar.
Kind of the bad.
Skedar.
They are this reptilian bad race, and
bad.
One of them has the ability to shapeshift into a human, but I don't know if all of them have that ability to. Because there's this guy. Is his name like Mr. Blonde? Is dude like a white
blonde guy?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, Mr. Blonde. I always think of something like Reservoir Dogs, right? Mr. Blonde. But
yeah.
Anyway.
And here we have Mr. Green.
Yeah. By the way, who wants to take a crack at Elvis? How Elvis talks? Anyone?
Oh man, I can't. Let me.
He sort of sounds like Yoda.
Discount Yoda.
Yeah, he's kind of Yoda.
Yeah. Discount Yoda.
Discount. Yeah.
He's just having a fun old time, especially later on. We pull him out of the water, and he's giggling. He's having a great time.
He's the comic relief here. Well, I mean, more so than the rest of the characters, at least. He's just cracking jokes left and right.
I do like how the doctor here just gassed himself. He's like, I'm going to get you. Oh, no, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so this alien, who we'll find out his name is Elvis, just let that sink in for a minute.
He's the king
here,
of the
folks.
aliens. There you go.
By the way, if anyone ever thought that this story was trying to be serious, again, this alien's name is Elvis. We have just picked up Elvis, who's in cryo sleep. And so we basically stash him more or less in a locker, and we're gonna come back for him later, and we have to basically find our way out of this Area 51. And so before we do that, we have to go get this. I think it's an informant that was more or less telling him the alien was here, and then we're gonna escort him back into the ship hangar, which of course has a flying saucer. So. Yeah, who's got things to talk about?
And to choose your own adventure.
Yes.
Wait.
That's one of
Did
the
I miss
choices.
something there?
This is one of the choices you can make at this point.
Oh, could you choose to like not go on there or something? Or?
Well, when you get to the end, it's like someone's going to have to stay back and operate the gates or whatever. And so he's like, I'll do it. And he starts running back. But if you go up to him, then Joanna will speak up and say, I'll get out on the, I'll handle the computers. You go on the ship. And then he goes instead.
Oh.
And then he actually ends up surviving and then shows up in a later mission.
I ended up following him just out of curiosity. And then he was like, all right, you do it. Wait, what? What?
Yeah, I did it by accident too. And I was like, oh, yeah.
And there's like
cool.
an extra
That's
whole
pretty cool.
escape thing where you have to, fight a bit more and get out. It's not just...
Yeah.
Does he help you later on, or is he just shows up?
I think that's the last I saw him.
No, so I saw him later on in the mission where you return to Carrington Institute, and he's there, but he was literally just standing there, and he didn't do anything. And I was like, maybe that's it. Who knows?
So we did just administer the med kit to wake up Elvis. I think the way that works is you just have to kill 2 enemies that are spawning and running towards you, and once those die, the timer is complete or whatnot. So here we have the situation where I think Elvis says it's a 1-seater. I don't know. Can we get a ruling on this? Because just looking at that spaceship, I'm quite certain you could put another 130 pounds in there. Like it looks pretty big.
You never know, man. It's alien technology. You know how it works.
Also, Elvis is really dense. He may not look it, but he's actually like 500 pounds.
Yeah, seriously. Who knows?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well,
if you don't take over, then I think you just kill some waves of enemies. Yeah. While Elvis is getting ready, like you did here. Yeah.
Well, now that Elvis is secure, we need to go, I guess, help the president, right? So we haven't really talked about kind of we briefly touched on this competition here between the Datadyne and some other mysterious benefactor, but we haven't really discussed the baddies here. Like what's the overall thing here? We have any volunteers that want to walk us through the lore up to this point?
I can't remember how much of the Skedar they've talked about. Go ahead, Lobos.
No, I don't think they talked about it at all at this point, but it's like Cassandra, who's the Datadyne CEO or whatever, and then Trent, I don't know what he's a part of. Trent
is like the guy in red, right?
Yeah, Trent's the guy in
red
red.
Outfit. Yep.
And then
the Skedar guy is in white.
That's
Trent's the head of the
Skedar.
NSA.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the NSA. Okay.
There you go.
And so we need to go infiltrate the Air Force One, the airliner of the president, and because we have some information that he needs to see, and I think the information is basically saying Trent is going to try to
kidnap you,
steal something from him, right? Well, first they want to steal something from him. They want to steal like something like a Pelagio 2. I don't know what that is. Some sort of
Pelagio
super
2
weapon.
is that like submarine thing that has a weapon on it.
Okay. And we're gonna find, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but we're gonna find out that that they have some backup plans if the president does not kind of allow them to have that thing. So we're still getting into Air Force One. Now this one again, this is how I do stealth. I just had my bot go around and kill everyone.
I did not know that was a thing.
You have to bring your...
Yep.
What was that?
I did not know that was a thing, having that bot just go around and fly and kill. That was really cool.
Because they don't aggro it for whatever reason. So if you start shooting people in this mission, they'll all get angry at you, but your bot can kind of single shot people.
Yeah, in an early mission, they had a cam spy tool, which is actually you control a little drone and you can fly up and down and take pictures and stuff. And in this mission, they have the drug spy, they call it, which is the same thing, but it shoots tranquilizer rounds. So,
by the way, those things are basically one-shot kills. They are such a good... You wouldn't expect it, but when I pick up the tranquilizer gun, that is OP.
Yeah, I don't think the game really distinguishes other than failing missions, but it's one shot put to sleep. So, but
that's all I need.
Exactly.
And then as we're getting up to Area 50 or Air Force One, there's a laser grid here, and kind of reminiscent a little bit of Sly Cooper right here, Lobos.
Yeah.
There's a laser grid you got to navigate through, and they're all solid. So if you break any of them, I think turrets pop up and shoot you. I think that's what happens.
You just get hit by them. But,
you just get hit. That's right.
Gosh.
You can't pass them when they're up either.
Yeah. In the Area 51 level, there's like a spot we didn't talk about where you have to set explosives, and then these lasers enable, and you have to get out before it explodes. But if you run into one and there's another one behind you, you just get bounced back and forth, and I got ping-ponged all the way to death, at one point, and I was like, oh no. But yeah.
So we are on Air Force One, and for the longest time, I thought that you had to shoot through everything, but I found the trick here. So we're going to come up to it. You go into the kitchen, stay to the left. And if you stay to the left and pass through this, you'll be home free. You can go talk to the president. If you go to the right, one of the cooks will say, "Hey, you're not supposed to be. You're an imposter," and then the whole ship will aggro. Did anyone see that or run into problems getting to the president on the ship?
I knocked out that cook before he could really do anything, and I walked to the ship and just knocked everyone out before I went and found the president.
All right.
Nice. I think I went in mostly guns blazing.
Yeah.
At this point, I was just like, okay, I'm going to go until someone says something, and then once they do, I'll just kill them and kill everybody else.
Okay. And this one gets crazy real fast. So you go talk to the president. Again, if you haven't aggroed everyone, it's been pretty smooth sailing getting up to here. Once you talk to the president, the aliens attack. And they connect a cargo bay or some sort of loading arm to your ship. So the first thing you need to go do is you got to go detonate that a mine inside of that little arm to detach your Air Force One from this other ship. Then when that happens, the pilots get executed, and so you can hear the plane start to go, and so you got to run in there quickly and I guess hit autopilot so it doesn't crash. Then the last thing you need to do is bring the president to the escape pod. But yeah, you do meet Mr. Blonde in here, and he's got a shield. When you shoot him, he has this kind of red shield that deflects bullets there. And he just kind of runs off after taunting you. And then, of course, you just try to run to this escape pod with the president, and the level is done. Not too bad.
Yeah, and you can do a lot of these objectives in different orders, because I think the last one I did was blow up the attached cargo arm or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You do that last? Okay.
And on Agent, you don't have to set the autopilot, so it was find I did find the president, got him to the escape pod, and then blew up that thing.
Okay, cool. And then Elvis is a little comedy at the very end there. Anyone catch how he detached the ship permanently?
Just blew himself right through it. Cut it with the saucer.
He's got a sharp ship,
Yeah. He's kind of goofing off, and Joanna's like, Elvis, quit goofing off, because I think he tries to shoot some sort of missile, and it doesn't work or whatever, and then he's like, all right, you stand back, I'm gonna ram it.
Yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to let one of you take cover or take over for describing this level, but the one thing I do want to mention here is we now have uncovered the Skedars. Was that Skedar? Whatever.
Skedar, yeah.
Skedar's plans is, since the president himself will not authorize the use of that submarine, they have made their own president that looks exactly the same. So it's like a duplicate. We got to go kill him.
Clone.
Yeah.
And I think that explains also why there's a whole bunch of the blonde guys running around and that all look the same too. Is they're just also, I guess, Skedar that have shapeshifted, I suppose. Unless there's more to the cloning angle that I missed, but that's what I figured after we learned that the blonde, Mr. Blonde, is a Skedar shapeshifter.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is after the mission on the Air Force One. It ends up crashing because we couldn't save or stabilize the flight. And now you're on the surface of who knows where. It's snowy. And there's these caves, these dark caves where they give you night vision so you can easily make your way through it. And yeah, you have to eliminate the president clone. You have to rescue the president. And
you got to find his like heart. You got to find his biological tracking device.
Oh, okay. Not on Agent, but yeah,
okay.
you can definitely.
And you can see up in the top right of the screen, you have a little mini map there. Some missions will have that.
Radar.
Yeah, President Radar. That will show you where the president and the body double of the president is. And then, does Elvis have the vest on yet? Because I want to call out when he has that.
No, I don't think he does yet.
I don't know which level it is, but I love what they've done with Elvis so much. Yeah. Alamaxia, did you see the attire that he changes into?
Oh, I did. He loves this nation.
He loves America.
Heck yeah.
So it might be the next mission, but he has a full-on red, white, and blue striped vest, and it's just he just walks around with that, and I love this. So this is another one I was talking about where you get the personality of Elvis because you're pulling him up out of the water, and he's like,
yeah,
shoot things I will.
Yeah, pretty much. So he is a bodyguard. Which I'd say he has limited results in the whole bodyguard. Later
levels, he was handy.
In this level in particular, though,
not
he
this
gets
level.
himself killed.
No, not this level.
Yeah.
But when he gets the far sight weapon, he snipes. Snipes so good. Especially on Agent, it might be different, but he's just one-shotting things left and right, and it's. He's basically soloing the mission in some cases.
I really want to talk about that Farsight weapon when we get to it, because I hated it.
We'll talk about it.
But we are. What are we doing? Are we trying to go to the submarine?
We're trying to shut off the electricity.
The submarine.
We're on the submarine.
Like the Pelagio 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Trying to shut off the power. Yeah, this. You have to use the X-ray to see these panels, which ones you're supposed to hit in order to...
Which are always randomized. Again, this is one of those where I'm like thinking a speedrunner. I'm like, I got the good sequence or the bad sequence, and now my time's going to be slower. Because, of course, randomized and it's around a circle, and so you could get really, really terrible spawns there.
It took me a while to figure out you had to use the IR scanner there. I kept trying to go through all the little combinations, be like, okay, that one didn't reset it, now 1, 2... All right, that one...
That's the thing with this game is that when you start a level, again, it does do a pretty good job at a high level explaining the things you need to do, but it doesn't really tell you how you're supposed to do that. So they'll give you all of these items, and it's kind of up to you to see, like, all right, start the mission. What sort of tools are available to me?
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. What's going on here? We've got some engineers, right?
Yeah, you want to disable the GPS, I think, so that the ship just kind of wanders off. And one of
them's a hero.
Yeah, one of them's like, okay, I'll help out. But then the second guy is like, die traitors, and pulls out a gun. But you can just kill him. And
he'll actually kill the other pilots.
Yeah.
And so if you let that happen, I thought that was kind of unfair because when I first did that, I wasn't thinking, and also the game penalizes you for killing civilians. So I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Let's all just talk here. Mission failed.
As soon as they pull out a gun, man, they're free reign.
Yeah, I guess that's
you talk with bullets.
Yeah.
All right, so at the very end, we have, at the very end of kind of maneuvering around the sub, we have found Elvis. He's in this little moon bay, I think they called it. He has some difficulties getting up this stairs, I noticed. Sometimes he just kind of clips through. But this was the area where you need to escort Elvis all the way from this moon bay all the way off the ship.
Ooh.
The problem with that...
This isn't an Agent, so...
I'm
glad it wasn't, because escort quests in these games sometimes... With his big head, too.
Yes, his big head, and the fact that he loved... So there's about... No joke, probably 7 or 8 hallways littered with guys, and he loves to run right in the middle of the hallway, plant his feet, and be like, bang, 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 and he can take a lot of damage, but not that much. So the trick is, I found, let's help out Elvis. Let's kind of do this whole sequence before we free Elvis or go get Elvis in the moon bay. So Elvis has a very nice, pleasant walk down a corridor full of dead bodies.
Right.
Now at the very end, I had like one sliver of life left, so I'm like, please, Elvis, just stay alive here. But so I guess for you guys on Agent, you just get Elvis at the moon bay and that was it?
No. You do this sequence, but I didn't actually get Elvis at any point. You just kind of show up here.
You don't have to escort him, but you have stuff to fight through all of it.
I got you.
And like you, I was at a very sliver of health, which I have a question about the health thing. I saw the health bar had like a little part of it that was sectioned off from the rest of it.
Did you never find shield?
Oh, I found shield, but the shield was like this bar that went around the health.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of below it or something. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I am actually not sure about that extra segment. You mean like how it's kind of like a sideways exclamation point? How there's
it's like you have your main bar, it gets down to red, and you're like, oh, I'm about to die. And then it has like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, from, thinking about it, you would think that maybe you could heal that up automatically, just that last section. Maybe they were going to do that, but then they didn't. I don't know. Who knows?
Was there even healing in this, aside from shield?
There's no healing. There's only shields.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the same way that, you think of GoldenEye had the armor, you could get the armor, but your health would never heal.
Yeah.
So we are now in, somewhere with teleporters. Does anyone know where?
Yeah.
Something from Aliens.
I think we're on a Skedar ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I think there's a ship, a regular ship that's docked with this Skedar ship or something, and because you end up, you start the level and it's like very, gray, kind of
normal
human,
military,
I guess. Yeah, military, and then you like you go through like a door, and now you're on the Skedar part, and then you wind up like, self-destructing this place.
Which, by the way, again, lighting. I can't get away from the lightings. How good it looks. Honestly. This does not look like an N64 game at all. Just like the way that the lights just, there's a reason why it looks good, or, well, I'd say that doesn't come without a cost, right? And the game is certainly framey. Like, there were times where I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, big open rooms, you would just look across, and then it's like, oh, my gosh, I have less frames per second than there are enemies on the screen, so, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. All right, so here's the thing. Here's the level, or the area in this level where you get that, what was it, the Farsight, is that what you said?
Ah, yes, the Farsight.
And so Elvis gives you his gun, the Farsight, and he's like, I gotta go across here, protect me, and you get this thing, and it's just terrible. It, like, in my mind, it basically makes the screen go all black, and all you can see is infrared, but you can't see infrared that far, so you kind of have to run around, and it's just... I basically got the gun, and I immediately got him killed. I was like, well, I'm never using that again.
So the Farsight,
tell me your success stories.
Is insanely OP. Mostly, I'm thinking in a multiplayer capacity, but you can actually zoom with it, and what it does is it does different depths of infrared, which is really cool. Like, you'll actually push through walls. You can zoom in and out.
Okay,
that's the regular thing, and it's basically a one-shot. But if you use
you can shoot through walls, is that what you said?
Yes, you can shoot through any geometry.
That's kind of okay.
And then if you use a secondary, it will auto-track enemies. And it's kind of slow, but it'll turn you, and then you just have to basically move the cursor and shoot enemies. But that goes through walls. It will auto-do the depths and everything, and it's insane. I used to just do multiplayer 1v8 of the easiest sim AIs, and I would just sit in a corner on top of an ammo box and just snipe people all day through the walls. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
All right, so I'm going to blame the game on this because, again, if you give someone a brand new weapon, don't let them experiment with it, and then immediately you have to do an escort quest, like, that's a recipe for failure. That sounds all really great. I think maybe if I would have known how to play with it.
And did they ever give you that gun again?
I never found it again.
So I don't. I don't know. There are some ways to get guns where, based on choices from previous missions. Yeah. So at some point, there's a mission where, like, you can, like, if you helped a guy earlier, he's there now in this mission, and he gives you a Phoenix, which is an alien pistol, which I didn't do, but the alien pistol is pretty cool. All the alien weapons I really like a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially the Reaper, I think, was a great one.
The Reaper is just minigun.
Well, we did miss a little defend quest there. I'm going to briefly mention it just because you bring Elvis to the, reactor, call it, to overload it, and all of a sudden all these little tiny rats or some sort of alien dinosaur rat thing
tiny
they keep
Skedar.
spawning.
Yeah, they're just little baby Skedar, it seems
and they all come from like 3 different spawn locations, so you have to kind of run around and shoot them before they get to Elvis. That one was a little stressful, just because they're again pretty small. We're talking about controls that aren't always the best.
Auto aim
wasn't always. Auto aim's like 10% of the time it'll just be like, nah, I'm not gonna auto aim, and you're like, what? So you have to like readjust the camera, and then, but yeah, I mean it's very good when it does work.
Yes, yes,
necessary, really. Without that,
and that's the end of the game, right? You go back and you have a beer and you celebrate,
and you're about to introduce Elvis, the alien race, to the president and finally make contact. But then, oh no, an explosion at home base, which I thought was really cool. I don't know how much time you guys spent in the Institute, but like from the main menu, if you just press back, you can walk around the main the office, and there's training missions, and there's a shooting range. And
you can also pick up various gadgets, and they'll show you how to use them.
There's that too. Yeah. A lot of cool stuff there, and
a lot of empty space though. I mean, because you'll go to you'll go to the hangar, and you're like, what is here to do, and how do I get back? I just want to go to the mission. How do I?
In the beginning of the game, you'll have the head guy give you a tour of the place and walk around. He's here's your hangar. And I'm just thinking, oh, sweet, I'm going to get like a ship that I can like choose something to do, and this hangar is always empty.
Yeah. Well, like any good Marvel movie, the villains have now attacked the home base, and it's starting to, it's kind of in ruins, so we need to defend it. Walk me through all the defenses we need to do here.
Well, there's hostages that have been taken from. I'm speaking from Agent. I don't remember Special Agent necessarily, but there's a lot of rooms where the people you know and love have been, taken hostage, and you have to go rescue them as best you can. Spoiler: you can get most of them killed on Agent, and it's fine. Oh,
really? I think I feel like it was half of them. I think I had to save like half of them.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna walk you through some pro strat. So you go up to the top floor. There's 2 rooms, but you have 2 of these combat adrenaline. So you pop the adrenaline, it slows down time. You go on the very first one, pop some 2 enemies there before they can shoot your civilians. Great. Reload your gun. Quickly go on over the next one. Again, you only have about 10 seconds of this. You're gonna go into that next room there. There's 2 more guards there with their guns pointed at civilians. You kill them. And look at that, just like that, you have saved 4 people with the cost of just 1 combat stim. But my favorite thing is this guy that's standing next to. He's like, oh, I almost had to kill them all myself, but thanks for getting them for us. you jerk. But what's really great about doing it in that order, starting with the top floor and then going down to the next floor, the top floor going to give you an access to, I think it's called the Destroyer, the Devastator or something, which is basically a grenade launcher that will allow you to more easily clean up one of the rooms here. Because there's 3 guys kind of lined up in a firing squad to shoot the civilians. It's almost like a holodeck. It's got it's just a black room with a bunch of like grid marks there, like square grids. Oh yeah, really does look like a holodeck. So, but then we get to, I think Alamaxia was mentioning about reskinned guns here. We get the super weapon, which sure seems familiar, right?
The old RCP 120, not the RCP 90. RCP 120.
This is 30 RCPs better.
Well, I mean, what does 30 RCPs get you better? Like, what's the awesome new technology that's on there?
Stealth. I forgot about this. I didn't actually use this on my mission.
Oh, I needed it because you get assaulted with 3 or 4 Mr. Blondes, and they're rough. So, this was very exciting. So you gotta, once you save all the civilians, you have to go get the experimental gun, which is the RCP 120, and then you have to run down to the hangar bay because there's a bomb, and you got to blow up this bomb. So I think you only have a minute to do that, and so you have to. At least I use stealth to just race down there and then get out your little gadget that does the like reprogramming or whatever. And then you're good to go. And then you just need to get out of the Institute. So you head over to your hangar bay. And as you're about ready to get out, oh no.
This was really cool when I was a kid because, like, you know, you're used to either pass or fail on a mission.
Yeah.
But then this one at the end, it just goes unknown. And
Unknown,
you're like, oh, no.
yeah. So,
Joanna
yeah, because usually
missing.
it's a green
Yep.
green thing for pass, red for fail, but this one was gray, and this is the only time they use that, so that was cool.
Mhm.
Well, you
Captured
know what
by
they
the
always say
Skedar.
about my enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
There you go, yeah.
We got, who is this? Oh, Cassandra, right?
Yeah.
Cassandra's going to help us out.
Is it just me or did Cassandra look kind of like a reskin Jay Leno? She had the chin and the tall head.
The tall hair and, yeah. Man.
And the very tall blonde hair. Now, this level is a little challenging. So Cassandra basically sacrifices herself. Well, actually, take a step back, figure out why we're in this predicament. So we get knocked out in the Carrington Institute, and we get put in a jail cell in the Skedar base or whatever, jail. And Cassandra says, hey, I'm going to go make a distraction. You better do something so we don't both die. She's already resigned to her fate. She's kind of like, I've been used as a person. This wasn't what I signed up for. So she's going to help you get out. So you have just a knife, and you use that to stab some reptiles. You get a gun, and then once you get a gun, you're all good. Then you just got to go through the rest of the level here.
Yeah, you
What's
disable
really-
some shields, and then
Yeah.
you meet up with Elvis, who's now donning his America vest.
Yeah. America!
Stars and stripes, baby. Yeah.
You know what was funny about that is there's a sequence where you're supposed to meet up with Elvis, and then I think you're supposed to go up to the kind of top deck, and there's all these aliens coming out, and you're supposed to have a big battle. But I
Yeah.
found that if you just stay down on the ground and just hang out with him, literally sit there for like 30 seconds, all the Manians all kill them for you, so you don't have to risk your or Elvis's life, and that was my
that's a good
strategy.
point. Yeah, I would bum rush them and just act as a human shield for Elvis, because otherwise he would take some damage. I had him die once on this level, so
Yeah.
But the Skedar are they mostly have basically the what's the weapon called from Halo? It's like the charge
Plasma
kind of
pistol.
The plasma pistol, yeah. You can shoot single shots, or the secondary will charge up and use, I think, 5 ammo, and then it'll shoot, and it's a big burst.
That was such a great one. I
yeah,
absolutely
it's
love
cool.
that shot. That one.
That burst did a
And-
lot of damage. That charge up, I think it's like 2 of those would knock out one of the Skedar.
Mm-hmm,
Yep.
mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll either do that, or they have some different weapons later on, but on this stage they'll either have the maulers, or they'll actually melee you. And when you get meleeed in this game, it makes your character kind of dizzy. You get a little disoriented,
Yeah.
and that can affect frame rate, and then you get punched more.
That's the most important thing, right?
Well,
Tanks.
it's I mean, IRL frame rate is important. If you're not able to see very well, you're probably going to get hit more, and then that just makes things worse. Just compounds real fast.
Did you get hit by the sedatives at all? Because it does the same
yeah.
thing,
Oh,
only
yeah.
a little worse.
Did you use an N-bomb?
I did, but I didn't. Yeah,
Okay,
I didn't use them that much.
So the N-bomb basically is like a localized black hole, and if you step in it or you get hit by it, your vision goes black for like 5 seconds. You drop whatever weapon you're holding, and then once you snap out of it, you've got extremely blurry vision for like a minute. It is insane. And one thing that you can do if you want pure chaos is just go the multiplayer mode and do 1 versus 8 meat sims free for all, and do N-bombs only, and that's just chaos. It's great. Very good, very good.
I bet the frame rate loves you for that too.
Oh yeah, and all you hear is that there's this certain sound when the N-bomb goes off, and you just everywhere. But anyways, that level that we just completed there really reminded me of Halo, and that's where Alamaxia, you mentioned it. There were similarities to Halo. That one really was like, it reminded me of when you teleport up onto the Covenant ship and you're running around and just in these corridors and that sort of thing.
And now we're using the plasma rifle. I mean, Callisto.
Yeah, and this one I used the high impact shots. I found were very effective against the enemy here, and so I exclusively use that. And then later on, I guess we did pick up a weapon called a Reaper. Or no, sorry. No, yeah, Reaper. And that one, it's like a Gatling gun. But it's kind of a weird Gatling gun.
It's just super inaccurate, just flurry of bullets.
I love it.
It has to spin up, and after you let go of the button, it still shoots like 30 more rounds. It's great.
Did you switch to its alt fire, which just turns the front of it into just this like drill?
Yeah.
It did like no damage, but it was fun.
No, yeah.
I love but it would also...
I just love the idea of it, but it's not very practical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you'd still take damage. Enemies, it wouldn't prevent enemies from smacking you in the face.
Yeah,
and it just didn't do much damage. I mean, if it would have done like a 1 or 2 hit on enemies, it would have been more useful, more fun. But you just had to sit there and and then they've got 5 shots in you.
Well, the first of this, so we're on the very last level here, and the first part of this level, you need to put 4 target amplifiers on 4 semi-randomized beacons or whatever. And I was very impressed with myself because I found there's one situation in which you could throw one of the target amplifiers over a wall to hit the target, and thus you could save a good minute or so of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
But we just saw the IR thing. I think, Alamaxia, you were talking about this, right? Like the IR. Were you saying something about the...
Yeah, you have to blow a hole in the wall, and they really... I didn't read the objectives on this, but I don't know how much they clue you into it, but yeah, there's a section wall you can only see with the IR scanner.
Yeah, it took so long to find. Like I said before, some of these levels are very maze-like. Some of the objectives are really just vague. And when you put those two together, you'll find yourself wandering around the level using left-hand strats the entire level going, what did I miss?
Yeah. And this one's got little areas that are very tucked behind like a corner that if you miss, you miss a whole nother section. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's... So the only clue I could see about the hole in the wall is they mention that you need to blast through the wall to access the inner sanctum, and they say if you go read about the IR goggles says it will allow you to see weak spots in the wall. But it's kind of annoying because when you look at the item descriptions, it's not like here's all the text. It's like here's very slow scrolling text that you don't want to keep reading because it takes too long to read it all.
And that area where they say, hey, you need to find the wall to blow it up. Right there, like a little around the corner, is this tunnel, and it has a wall that's really cracked. And I'm like, oh, I just got to hit that with my grenade launcher. No, that wasn't it. No, don't make the cracked wall the place you need to go. Make it this invisible wall 2 areas over.
We just completed Skedars' Secret Army. I had some cool strats for that, but I want to hear how you guys solved that. Did you guys just stay in the middle of the room and shoot everything?
I left the room immediately and just went to the boss.
What? You can do that? Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's an objective for higher difficulties.
Oh, it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
so
uneven,
I guess I did this. So basically, what I would do is there's these little pods, and I would go stand in a pod, and you could shut the door. So enemies that spawn, you can see them coming towards you. And so all you do is like, all right, aim, open up the door, shoot, close the door, reload. And so that was nice. All right, boss time. Who's got this? Who's got the perfect stretch for this?
Shoot it until all of your ammo runs out and then reload.
Yeah.
That's not how you beat this. Wait, did you guys...
You guys didn't... It took me a couple of tries to figure this out. I noticed all the big glowing on the monument up above it. And, you do enough damage to him, his red armor turns yellow. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go over here and, pray at this altar. And I figured, shoot the big part that's glowing. That's gonna... But no, that's the shield. You need to shoot the parts that aren't glowing. And then you just start knocking off all the tines. There's like 5 spots you have to hit on this little structure, this little altar. Then you hit the last one. Waiting for it. Blap.
And there it goes. Over. I think Elvis or someone in your briefing says you may need to blow up the building to kill him or something. It basically gives you some clue where it's like, hey, yeah, you're going to have to kill them through blowing up a statue or whatever.
Yeah, I had the same thing where, like, it's kind of counter to what the game teaches you, which is, like, if enemies have shields, they flash on them and you shoot them until it's gone. So with that in my mind, I was like, yeah, shoot the thing that's shielded so I can reduce its shields. And then it took me a bit, and then somebody in chat was like, shoot the unshielded part. And I was like, oh. Gotcha. Yeah.
By the way, I need an Elvis plush with that stupid American
that would be
fest.
Awesome. Yeah.
Again, it's got Elvis written on the back of it. It's just
his shoes. He's just wearing like blue sneakers.
Does anyone know if Elvis comes back for Perfect Dark Zero?
I did not play Perfect Dark Zero, so I don't know. I wonder if it's at all related. I don't know.
I think Joanna Dark is in it.
But
I can't remember. Well, so we complete the game. There's a little sequence of the building exploding. Joanna, is she going to get out of this alive? Because the building kind of came down on her leg. And Elvis is like, hey, give me your hand. And Joanna's like, no, I just need your gun. And takes the gun and just shoots. I guess there's an alien that's kind of holding onto her leg. And there you go. It's game over, and there's a little sequence of them walking out, and then we're going to get to a cool credit sequence after that. But before we do that, we've got our own little credit sequence. Celebrating all of the amazing Patreon support, and we did get 2 new supporters this time around, so I want to thank Lamb Shanks with a Z and Emperor for joining the family, and with that brings us up to 18. So we are just 7 shy of that magical 25, in which we're going to do a special episode, 2-hour-long episode of Earthbound. And again, this was episode 46. So man, if we are able to get a couple more here, we might have a banger for episode 50. I don't know. We'll see.
That would be wonderful.
That would be wonderful. But quick thoughts. Anyone want to talk about their experiences here with either past or present experiences with Perfect Dark?
So being my first time through the game, I really didn't know what to expect. And at first I took the story seriously, and I was and I was just like, what the heck is what? But then kind of started sinking in. I still didn't really care too much for like the progression of the story. The gameplay was wonderful. It was a lot of fun. The different gadgets, like you said, the different modes, like switches on the weapons. I know I didn't use every weapon in the game, and I didn't use every mode on the weapons in the game because you don't have to. But it was fun. They gave you all those options, so many different ways to do the same thing.
Yeah. I love just all the weapons in this game, and we didn't talk about so many of them. Like some of the more unique ones, like the dragon is a assault rifle, but then you throw the gun itself, and then it's like a proximity mine.
What?
Yeah, you just chunk the gun, and then it blows up. and yeah, so you like there's in I think the second Area 51 level, there's a lot of these lifts that are really slow. They come down, and the enemies will bunch up and then come down the elevator, and you can just toss like a dragon under there. And when the lift comes down, it just blows up and kills them all. Nice. Some pretty cool strats with that. But yeah, there's like a lot of these I know more for multiplayer. And they have some much better applications that way too. But like, there's just so many very cool guns in that game. I don't know if you guys checked out the Slayer's secondary is a camera rocket. So you control the rocket and you fly it around. Okay. And so another thing to do in multiplayer is just go into a corner with a Slayer, and then you just launch the rocket and look for people, and you just run straight into the people or at their feet or something and kill them that way.
Well, can they shoot your rocket out of the air?
They can, totally, yeah. But yeah, they have to notice it and be able to hit it. Which you don't auto-aim on the rocket, so you got to pure aim it. But yeah.
Sounds like most of your multiplayer experience here or joy comes from standing in a corner and just annihilating people that can't get to you.
Look, like I said, most of my multiplayer playing was solo, so you got to find fun ways to deal with the sims. True. And doing the hard difficulty sims is no fun because there's like perfect sim, and then the hardest is called dark sim. And those are just aimbots. They'll just instant headshot you with like anything. Yeah. So it's really tough. Really tough. But yeah. Anyways,
well, I did want to mention that there are 4 bonus levels. I did unlock 2 of them. I think you unlock the first one for beating an agent, second one for beating a secret agent, third one for perfect agent. I think the fourth is then if you do all the bonus challenges or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I did check out the first two bonus levels. I wasn't as impressed with them as I was the GoldenEye because it's kind of set in the same level, so there's nothing really new. It's just slightly different. So the first one is called like Mr. Blonde's Revenge. You basically are going in to the Datadyne Corporation as Mr. Blonde. You go in there, and I think you have to. What do you have to do? I don't remember. You just got to go in there and like beat up Cassandra or do something, take something. And then the second one is like Elvis's something.
It's a Mayan level, right?
Yeah, you get to play as Elvis, but I thought it was one of the levels that we've already played. I just don't remember which one it was.
Okay.
So, yeah, this was my first time playing Perfect Dark. I have a long time ago on the 360, I played Perfect Dark Zero. And interesting, I didn't really know anything about Perfect Dark, so I don't remember much about Perfect Dark Zero either. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game. It was fun. Again, once you learn the levels, I think that's when the magic comes in. Sometimes learning the levels is a little challenging. I highly recommend if you have the time. Yeah, frustrating. And I do highly recommend if you have the capacity to play through multiple times, start your first level with the agent, because that's going to teach you kind of the basic objectives.
Mechanics, yeah.
Yeah, basic mechanics of the level and the objectives, and then they kind of layer on and get a little bit more complicated there.
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to do this segue because at the end here, all the credits are done. It says, Perfect Dark is forever, which to me was just like super cheesy but hilarious, and I love that it's just in theme. But another word for forever is eternal.
Oh.
And
well, that's interesting. Okay. Where are you going with this exactly?
Well, I mean, talking about maybe another game that we might play.
Ooh. Okay. All right. So I think I'm hearing that you need just more dark.
Just so much, right? so much
dark. Okay.
So much darkness.
Well, you know what? I have an idea here. We're going to be coming up in October, and we generally like to do kind of a spooky Halloween episode. I'm just putting 2 to 2 together. There's a game called Eternal Darkness, which I think actually came out in 2002, so it just qualifies this year.
No way! No way. All right, perfect.
So those things just kind of lined up real happenstance, so great job.
Good job, Fate.
Dennis Dyack for doing that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're going to be checking out Eternal Darkness on the GameCube in October, and I've played this, and I think I know Lobos, you've played it.
Yes.
And Alamaxia is going to be a new one for you.
I apparently haven't played any dark games. So we're just going to foray into the dark world.
Dark Souls.
Oh, I played Dark Souls.
Souls, yes.
But I think this is one you definitely want to go in blind, because it's crazy. It's crazy, man. Yeah, I would love to even see things in the Discord, post your experiences, like what the heck just happened. I'd love to see, because without spoiling anything, it's a ride, man.
It's wacky. I don't remember half the stuff, but I remember some of the things that it especially does. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to play through it again, because it's been like 6 or 7 years for me, so I probably forgot most of it.
I've heard good things, but I know nothing about it.
Paragon.
Yeah, whatever. We'll get there.
All right. Before we get into the next episode, we're just going to talk ourselves right into the next episode here. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up. So, again, thank you so much to all the Patreon supporters of this episode, and for supporting us throughout the year and future endeavors. If you are interested in supporting us, you can head on over to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Gaming Show to learn more. Or you could head over to our website, SaturdayMorningGamingShow.com. It's got all the links that you're interested in. But sadly, we have reached the end credits of this episode and wanted to thank everyone for listening to us on the podcast or watching us on YouTube.
And don't forget, you can head on over to Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcast. Give us a like, give us a listen, or go to SaturdayMorningGamingShow.com and you can listen to it right in browser.
If you have feedback for us, we would love to hear from you. You can shoot us an email, SaturdayMorningGamingShow@gmail.com, or use the contact form on SaturdayMorningGamingShow.com.
And hey, if you're listening to us on a platform that allows you to rate us in some way, like a thumbs up or subscribe or heck, even a comment, always appreciated. Please consider taking a couple seconds out of your day to do so. And we wanted to give one special shout out again to Technoax for much of the music in this episode.
For Saturday Morning Gaming, I'm Alamaxia.
I'm Lobos.
And I'm the Fat Wizard. We'll see you in October for Eternal Darkness on the GameCube.